Hi everyone,
and welcome to another episode of ITT Podcast, which stands for In This Together Podcast. Our podcast is our honest take on relationships, love, and marriage, with the aim of sharing our views and experiences for you to take from it whatever you need.
So whether you're single, dating, in a relationship, or happily married, there is something in it for you.
Hi everyone, today's episode is called The Social Media Dilemma, to like or not to like. And we'll be talking about the complexities of social media when you're in a marriage or a serious relationship, and how your partner's behavior on social media can impact your relationship. So yeah, we're just going to jump into that. So, do you want to talk about why we wanted to talk about this today?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's important to everyone, I would say. It's probably, I very much doubt if there are any couples out there that have not experienced this at some point in a relationship. So this is a very important topic. I mean, we've experienced it in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we put this out there and put forward some of our experience, some of the things we've experienced, and
some of our suggestions. Yeah, I think it's important in today's day and age as well, where even people that don't want to be on social media somehow seem to get drawn into social media for one reason or another. And social media is so vast. You know, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's even LinkedIn is social media. WhatsApp is social media to some degree as well.
It's hard to avoid.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah, everywhere we go, we've got stories and pictures of people who are not people that we would normally be interacting with on a regular basis if we weren't on social media. And so I think this issue of how you behave on social media, whether or not you should be liking pictures and stuff like that, is one that is going to affect a lot of relationships and has a lot of bearing on.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Also, we've got two dilemmas that we need to touch on today as well. So... Yeah, two dilemmas. I think that's the last two that we've had. So we're going to touch on both of them today, because today's episode is the last of the season. So we're not going to be gone for very long this time. I think we're only going to be gone for a couple of weeks or so, but we're definitely going to kick back before Christmas with season 3. So that's the plan. And so we're going to kind of be doing season 3 over Christmas, probably take like a 1 week or 2 week break over Christmas and then carry on with season 3. And we've got lots of cool episodes planned out for season 3 already.
Definitely.
So season 3 is already fully booked. So we've got loads of things we want to talk about in terms of our planning for season 3. So we're going to do this chat about social media and do the two dilemmas. And then we'll wrap up for the season until a couple of weeks. Yeah, so we just thought that's the plan. So we thought we'd just give you that lowdown. So yes, social media, the social media dilemma, to like or not to like. I mean, we've already said this is one of those things that's going to affect a lot of relationships in today's day and age. Even people like my parents are on social media now, so it's not even...
Everyone's on social media.
Yeah, to some degree. But let me start by asking you, what do you think about being married and having a social media, first of all? Let's just start with that. Like, what do you think about your wife or someone's husband being married or a seriously committed relationship and having a social media account?
I mean, it's hard having a social media account because you have to be active in your account. So you have to find like a balance. Obviously, if you're married or you're in a relationship, you have to attend to your relationship, but also you have to try and be on social media as well, because there's a pressure that when you're on social media, you've got your friends added on there. There is a, how do I put it? It's almost like a duty for you to be active, continue posting, be proactive and, liking friends' pictures or whatever. So there's a certain pressure to keep up with the constant interaction on social media. So it is hard and it is challenging, but I don't think it's a healthy thing to do.
You don't think it's healthy?
Because it's like an additional pressure on you, I feel. A lot of people, some people will probably feel this and, they may not necessarily know it.
Yeah.
But just coming on social media, if you've got friends on there and you're not liking their pictures, some people may respond a certain way to that.
Yeah.
They feel like you're being, you're hating that, or you're, whatever.
I don't know. Sometimes people don't realize how much you're not on social media as well.
Exactly.
You know, I go for weeks. I'm not necessarily not weeks, but definitely a significant number of days where I don't log in.
So just having that's why I came off social media a while back, because I had to prioritize you and the kids, and I felt like a lot of my time was being spent on social media. It's a lot of distraction, I would say.
Yeah, and I think we both felt like that to some degree last year. I would say around 2021, 22, we kind of came off social media. Even though I was still on it, you came off properly and you just weren't like active on social media at all. I think I asked you not to close your account.
Because that was the plan. You wanted to
close your account. Like, I'm still going to want to at you on pictures and stuff. So I was like, don't close your account. But, you know, we've definitely stopped using social media as much. And then what really brought us back into social media was when we kicked off this podcast in January 2023. So January at the start of this year, we went back on social media. Frank went back. I never really left, but I became a lot more active on it because we created the ITT podcast Instagram page. Yeah. And that was just like, that just threw us right back into the world of social media. And I mean, we're a bit more active on there. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to get some sort of cycle going so that we're not on there every single day, but we are quite active on there. So we're quite active on social media again. But I think I agree with you about the pressures of, you know, trying to keep up with what's going on with your friends and liking pictures, etc. But do you think, like when I asked you, what do you think of it, like being married and being on social media, do you think that there's anything that it says anything about the person you're with or anything like that? Like, what are your thoughts on the person you're with and how they are towards social media?
Yeah, it's...
And is this not an interview? So if you think the question is like nonsense, you can just...
No, the question is all right. It's, for me, it's what you're asking, what do I think?
Yeah.
About the person? Like, what do I think about you?
Yeah, like I know throughout our relationship, social media has been one of those things where we have a kind of different view. You're not a big social media fan, but you understand that it's like a means to an end. Yeah. But like, you know, if you're putting me personally aside, what do you think about having social media while in a serious relationship? Because you say
I think it's distracting.
Okay.
Because it's time consuming. It's one of those things, you either have it or you don't have it. There's no point having it, not using it. If you have it, then be on it. I'm not saying spend all your time on it. You can, you know, be proactive on it. You can go on it every now and then. But if you've got a few friends, you've got a few family members, chances are you'll be dipping into it. And, you know, that takes away time that you could be spending with your, you know, with your partner, with your kids and kids and whatnot. So it is distracting. I get it. You know, it's useful. There's quite a lot of benefits from it. There's the upside, there's the downside. But I really did, personally, I think it's really distracting. If we hadn't kicked off the ITT podcast, I would have definitely stayed off it. I wouldn't have stayed. I wouldn't have come back on because it is quite distracting. Sometimes you go on it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes becomes 30 minutes. Yeah, so it's just that 30 minutes that will never get back, and it's like, there's no need for that. Yeah. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually really agree, even though I'm much more a social media person than you are. And when I say then Frank is literally just more than he is, but I'm not on social media that much either in comparison to the way social media is normally used in today's day and age. But I think it is definitely something that's quite distracting. I think it is also something that can be difficult on the relationship if you have plans. I think it can throw you off course as well, because there's so much going on. There's so many different people's lives and so much, like, it can be really distracting, but it can also throw you off course, and it can keep you looking at things that are not important. And so I think when you're in a serious relationship or you're like married and stuff, social media is one of those things where if you can avoid it, it's probably better to avoid it. You know. But what do you think about things like couples Instagrams or couples pages, where instead of having individual pages, you just have one shared page? I know some people do that.
I think that's a good thing. If you're both on social media or you both enjoy being on social media, why not just have one account?
I've never actually thought of that. I mean, that's just something I just asked you now because I just thought about it because of the fact that we have ITT podcast page. And obviously that's our podcast page. It's a couples page because we're talking about relationship stuff. But we've never really had one. I mean, we've been married for 10 years.
Yeah.
We've been together for, 19 years. We've never ever thought of like, why don't we just have one social media page?
I think it's not a bad idea. If you trust each other, if you want to build that trust and transparency, then have one page. But obviously the tricky bit is obviously you have your friends and I have my friends. So what happens? We both add both friends. It's like, this is, my wife and I's page. I don't know how the logistics of that is going to work, but it could work if they get it. If you break it down to them, like, this is this is our page.
I was going to say, don't you think it will make the couple lose their sense of personal identity?
I
don't know how I feel about that.
It's a bit. You're borderline in the whole trust issues. Like, why do you need to have that? Do you not trust each other? Does she not trust him? Does he not trust her? Is that why they're having a couple's page? People might perceive that, there's a trust issue there. So, I think having a separate page is totally fine because you have that individuality. You have it's almost like an independence.
Yeah. And what you're going to be seeing on your feed because of the algorithm is going to be different. I mean, we've spoken about this before. Your feed being workout, big booties, like girls wearing clothes,
looking ridiculously
outrageous. Because of what your friends are like. All your friends are male, so your feed is very different from my feed. My feed is just a lot of hair stuff, makeup stuff. Like I'm like. And like DIY, home stuff and decor. And
I mean, we do have different interests. Mine's got a lot of football. A lot of sports activities and stuff. So we do have different things. So I think that brings back to the individuality-ness of it. So even though having a couple's one is not a problem, but there's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
You could have one where it's both of you, but you've just decided to just have one that you both share what you both do.
Yeah, and probably if you're not on social media much either, a way to be on there but without having to be like on there might be to have one account. I mean, we've got the ITT podcast joint Instagram, so we're definitely not going to necessarily get rid of our individual ones and stuff, but I just thought that would be interesting. But anyway, let's get into the meat of this chat. This discussion is supposed to be all about liking pictures, DMing people, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's just get to the nitty gritty of it. Like, let's just put that out there already. Like, I have really strong views about liking pictures and videos of the opposite sex when you're on social media. I just have really strong views about that. And, it's one of those things where it's interesting because I think I've seen people in relationships, like people who I know are in serious relationships, and I will see that they're liking other girls' pictures and, Instagram baddies or models and stuff like flat out just liking pictures or commenting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that about? Like, why is that happening? So this is one of the reasons why, like, this discussion I think is interesting for us to kind of explore. Because first, let me ask you, is liking someone's pictures and videos of the opposite sex on social media a harmless gesture or a potential source of relationship issues? I mean, what do you think, in your honest opinion?
Yeah.
Because in my honest opinion, I've already, I'm just there, like, to me, is a potential source of relationship issues. But
I mean, from a guy's perspective, some guys may do it and see nothing wrong with it. But it's trouble waiting to happen. It's trouble waiting to happen. You cannot be in a relationship, or married and then, liking other women's pictures or videos or DMing. Like, you just can't do that. It's a no-brainer, really. You just can't do it because that's just problems.
Yeah. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like, it's not even something to even think about because why? You got to ask yourself, why are you liking those pictures? Is that what you want? Is that what you're after? It's one thing for someone to be singing, like, she's singing or she's performing or she, what people do a lot of, different things, a lot of crazy things on social media.
Yeah.
Or she's doing some sort of dance or whatever, and then you like the dance or you like the picture. But then there is a different aspects of, those Instagram baddies where they've got their yash out and everything. Then you're liking those ones. That's problematic. Like,
problematic.
Because if I was on social media, if I liked a lady's picture,
I'm like, we are so old school.
If I liked a woman's picture, she's singing, and you saw that I liked her picture, and she's just singing, she's performing, you would understand why I've liked her picture, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But if there's a girl working out in the gym and she's half naked, and I like the picture,
because people be working out in the gym half naked these days. Like, what's going on?
Everyone's doing it. Maybe I should go to the gym and work out half naked. But if I liked her picture, am I liking a picture because of the workout?
I know, right?
She's half naked. There's only one reason why I'm liking a picture, isn't it? So,
I think, that's
a problem. So, yeah.
I think for me, I think it's just beyond, even just saying like a potential source of relationship issues. I think it's downright disrespectful.
Yeah.
And maybe this is going to come across harsh for men listening because they're like, oh, here we go, typical woman. But for me, I think it's disrespectful.
Let's just stop there. That's not typical woman.
Is it not?
That's not typical woman. Most guys out there, they know this. It is disrespectful. They may do it, but it is disrespectful. So that's not even like, we're not even like, saying typical.
Look at you trying to defend me,
it's not about defending you. Like, it's just like, if you got any brain cells in your head, like you know that's a disrespectful thing to do. Especially if, you have your woman and you're seeing these women, you could almost kick off a self-doubt. What am I looking for? I'm looking for...
It could create confidence issues or self-esteem reduction and stuff like that. Because even if you're not doing it on purpose.
Exactly. I mean, you will get to this, but you have access to my Instagram page.
Yeah.
So if you went on my Instagram page and you saw that most of my likes are these baddies, what would be your thought? I'm after baddies. Exactly.
I'll just be shocked. Like, I just find it
exactly. But what would, it's disrespectful, but what would it make you feel? It make you feel like, that you're not good enough.
No, it wouldn't make me feel like I'm not good enough, if I'm honest with you. And I'm not saying I'm better than other women who may feel like they're not good enough, but it would make me feel like, it would make me question who I married. Because the kind of person I married, I would not think that they'll be interested in Instagram baddies. Not to say that they can't see a beautiful woman and tell that she's beautiful, but I'm saying for you to kind of sit on social media and be liking pictures. Because, I mean, let's examine the whole act of actually liking a picture. Mm-hmm. When you like a picture, you're basically saying that there's something in that picture that you're interested in. Like you said, if someone's singing, you'll be interested in their singing or interested in the tip that they gave, if they gave some sort of tip or whatever. But if a girl is just there dressed a certain way or, showing off her figure or in a bikini or whatever, and you like the picture, you're actually signaling your interest to that girl. Whether you think it's harmless or not, doesn't take away from what it actually is, which is signaling to that girl and to anybody else who might see your that you're interested.
Yeah, because it will show you that you will show up, to your friends and stuff that you like this picture.
Anyone can see that you
liked it.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where the act of liking someone else's picture of the opposite sex is actually very, very bold, in my opinion, because it's almost like, would you go up to a girl on the street that looks pretty and be like, wow, you look really nice? Would you do that? You wouldn't do that because it just seems so unusual, but we do it on social media.
But that's why social media is addictive. It's things you cannot do in the real world that you can do online.
On social, online. Yeah. And it makes it like normal.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just like...
It is disrespectful. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, going about it the long way is that when you were saying, men are going to be like, rah, rah, rah. If there are any men out there saying that, oh, there she goes again, then you know that man does not have any brain cells.
With this harsh...
Because it is disrespectful.
Harsh language,
It is disrespectful. Let's keep it at that.
Yeah, it's disrespectful. And I think if a man feels like it's not, I feel like you just need to flip it the other way. Would you feel comfortable seeing your girl go up to a guy on the street and tell him she likes the way he looks?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't feel comfortable. So why would you be comfortable with your girl? You wouldn't be comfortable with your girl publicly saying online that she likes
the double standard.
It's double standards. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think if you're in a serious relationship, just refrain from liking random strangers' pictures.
I know.
It's just not right.
They're there. You can see it.
Yeah.
Half the time, some of these girls, they're frying an egg half naked. So why can you put some clothes on to
fry an egg? Oh gosh, let's not go in on the girls. But yeah, no, for me, it's just like, I take a strong stance. I think it's downright disrespectful. Right. And so I feel like the dilemma here is just whether or not, you should actually be liking people's pictures.
And it really does. Question.
Well, it really depends. Because I've seen people in relationships who will go around liking girls' pictures and act like there's nothing wrong with it. And that's why we're talking about it, because we're like, what? That is an unusual thing that our society is now normalizing. Liking pictures on social media and making it seem like it's not that big a deal because it's social media, but it's a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. I mean, if we talk about our experiences with it, because we don't want to sit here on our high horse, married for years, and now we want to be like, this is ridiculous. Obviously, we're talking about it from experience, because there was times in the early times of our relationship where you felt like that as well. You felt like it wasn't a big deal.
I did feel like, this is why a few people out there, some young men out there, may feel like it's not a big deal. It's just a like. It's not like I'm chatting her up. It's not like, I'm moving on to her kind of thing. But it's exactly the same thing. You're just doing it on the internet.
Yeah.
So, from our past, it's like, I was very active when I was younger on social media.
Yeah. I mean, we are the social media kids. We always say this. Like, social media came out.
Yeah.
We were MySpace, the first generation.
Facebook, Black Chat, all of that was just like, it's like they literally, all that dopamine, all that, it was just
likes, friends, followers, high five, yeah. And, even like, BlackBerry and the pinging and
the ping,
having people's pins and stuff like that. Like, all of that stuff was a way of just like connecting and interacting with like people that you do not know and probably would never have come across if it wasn't for social media. Yeah. And there was this notion of like making friends. And so I think a lot of the times in the early part of our relationship, I was never one of those girls that felt like you can't make female friends.
Yeah.
I never felt like that in the beginning. I was younger as well. So I felt like, you can make friends, you can make female friends. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
But I do recall us being like going back and forth about social media interactions.
We did. I mean, basically, to cut the story short, when I was younger, for me, I was one of those.
When I was younger. You make it sound like you were old.
I'm old now.
You're not that old.
Come on.
This is what, we're talking 10 years ago?
More than 10
15
years ago. 15 years ago. Like, I was one of those young men that was just like, didn't find anything wrong with chatting to them, like messaging other girls, like, liking other girls kind of like pictures. It's just, for me, it felt like a harmless thing to do. It's just like, I'm just showing her. Like, for me, I support black women. So back then, that's how I interpreted it as supporting black women.
Like bigging her up,
compliment her, she looked nice, because I know what it did to her confidence. But on the other side of things, it was harming our relationship, because that's not how you saw it.
No,
it wasn't something like that. It was like, when you're doing that, you're doing a lot of it as well. It felt like I was searching for other things.
Yeah, basically. I remember being like, are you even looking for a serious relationship? And I think it is perception. I mean, I can see how a man could easily think, I'm literally just saying to this girl she's pretty. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I like her picture's nice. Social media, you're supposed to hit like if you like something, that's it. I can see it. But on the flip side as well, it's like, if you have to think about the person you're with and what that says to them, and to a lot of women, you're probably right, a lot of women would see it as a way of like a self-esteem thing, where it's like, okay, you're kind of saying you're interested in this person and this person and this person. And although you might see it as harmless, it's actually harming the relationship, like you're saying.
It is.
But like, what made you, because I'm trying to think back, but I know that it wasn't that big a deal. It's not like our relationship was plagued with social media issues. I just remember this being like a thing where we just disagreed, and it wasn't something that it wasn't something I would say I felt strongly about, where it was a deal breaker for me back then, because social media was new as well. So it was something that we were kind of discovering and understanding, together. The whole world was kind of discovering how they want to interact with social media, what the etiquette is, what's right, what's not right. So it's not like I was there like, no, I'm not putting up with this, you liking other girls' pictures, or you making friends with new girls on High Five, or I never really checked your stuff like that to have such a strong opinion on it. But I know that it made me a bit uneasy, because I was like, I don't want to be with my partner and have like loads of girls that know him through social media that don't technically know him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was weird. But what would you say kind of changed your mind about it, like how you perceived it? Because there was definitely a difference in perception.
Yeah, for me, I grew up, I literally grew up. Yeah, I literally grew up. I mean, if you've listened to our previous podcast, I've mentioned that, or obviously when you know that you've found the right woman for you, as a man, you've just got to lock off everybody else. Like, you've got to like get a new SIM card if you have to.
Yeah.
So the whole interaction with social media and talking online or messaging and stuff. Obviously, when you're young, you do a lot of that, but you then meet someone and you fall for them. But that whole social media interaction, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's almost like you need to get it out of your system and you need to do it pretty quickly. So for me, I grew up and I got really serious about you. And for me, I wasn't getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
Clicking, it's great. It gives them confidence, but it was harming our relationship. Actually put me in the light of not being someone that's coming across not serious. So, I had to check myself. There's quite a lot of question in my head for myself about, how committed am I to this relationship if I carry on doing this?
But some people will hear this and feel like I strong-armed you into changing your mind.
I don't. No. Let's just be clear.
Do you think?
You can't strong-arm me into anything. Like, if you know me, Nuri will tell you that,
Yep, I will tell you.
Yeah. I'm a true Taurian. Like, you
stubborn.
You cannot force me to do anything. You cannot. But like I said, I grew out of it. I grew up. I prioritized. It was a decision. Like, no. I'm gonna stop doing this. I'm in a serious relationship. I'm going to take my relationship seriously.
Yeah.
I carry on supporting black women anyways because I'm married one. So for me, it's a case of, there are other means of doing that. And like you said, we did not argue a lot about it. It wasn't like that. But the few interaction we had, I took them seriously.
Yeah, because it did raise a lot of doubt in my mind. Yeah, exactly. I was like, is this guy who he's presenting himself to be?
I can see that. And for me, I had to, to rein that in. And cut that out. Yeah.
So, I guess I'm trying to think about this in terms of, young men today. Because if you're saying you grew out of it, or you're saying, obviously you're a grown man now, you're like, that's, young boy thing in the way you see it. What would you say to young girls dealing with this issue now? Should they wait for him to grow out of it? Is it different from how it was when we had social media?
It's different.
It's different environment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different from what I've seen. Was out there. If I was young in this social media period of time, I think I would struggle.
I don't think we would have been together, boy.
I think I would struggle because it's bad out there. So if you're a young girl dealing with that, I mean, it depends on what age you're both at. If you're both
let's say 24, 25.
Then he needs to get serious.
I mean, what age would you say you were when you kind of decided to prioritize our relationship?
24, 25.
Yeah.
Around about that age.
Yeah.
Yeah, around about that age, yeah. Because when you start getting to the 26, 27, then, and some people are married already by that time.
Yeah.
So if it's boyfriend and girlfriend type of relationship, right? And you're just mutually exclusive, right? So the word I'm looking for, mutually exclusive. Then the likes and whatnot should really be stopped. You should start, cut it out.
So I guess you're saying the more serious you are with that person, it's not going to fly. You need to just stop.
Yeah.
But what role would you say, trust plays in this then? So, because some people would be like, if you trust your man, why does it matter? Or if you trust your girl, why does it matter? Isn't trust, don't you trust each other? That sounds insecure, that kind of stuff. And,
it's...
I think that's gaslighting.
It probably is. I don't think it has anything to do with trust. There is a sense of respect. Forget about trust. There's a sense of respect. Just out of respect, just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's just something it could be harmless. Most of the time it is harmless. It's just a like and you move on. It's a like, you don't need to interact with that person, but out of respect for your partner, for your wife, your girlfriend, just don't do it because they may not find out. The thing is, one of the biggest things about respect is respecting someone without them being aware of it.
Without them being around to see it.
Around to see it. Because a lot of people, they do this, in your face kind of respect.
Yeah.
I respect my wife. Or they'll do something that you can see that, he really respects me. But if you want to find out the true respect, it's one that you're not even there. You're not even aware of what's happened.
Yeah.
You can see a picture. It's like, nah, it's like, okay, she looks nice. She looks good. Move on, kind of thing.
That everyday respect. That respect when no one's watching.
No one's watching.
Yeah, that's so true.
Don't do it for the gram. Don't do it for social media. Don't, post her up on your page that, my babe, and then on the other side you're clicking likes,
sliding in people's DMs. And this is, oh my gosh, we do need to talk about this, because this is a situation we went through with the sliding in the DMs, right? So this is like a perfect example of how social media is different today than how it was before. Because like I was saying, Frank and I had this different opinion about likes and stuff like that, and I was never too tough on it. Like, we never really kind of got to the bottom of it and decided that no, you shouldn't be liking any pictures or anything like that. So it was like, it's a grey area for us. But I think the last straw was when social media kind of changed its Instagram kind of introduced stories. And we don't have to talk about this if you don't want
to. No, let's talk about it. It's fine.
You sure? Because it might give a good kind of perspective for some people. But like, Instagram changed they introduced stories. And so you can actually look at people's stories now and hit like, which we're probably all used to now. And hitting like on someone's stories puts you in their DMs.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware of that. I was not aware of that. Yeah.
Oh, ish. So Frank must have like been on Instagram, and there was some random girl that he doesn't know at all. But and this is why it was like, nah, this liking thing. I think even for himself, he was like, oh, because we've never really spoken about it, and it's not like he was out there liking loads of girls' pictures. But I think this incident was like, he saw the story and he hit like, and because I have access to his we have access to each other's social media and stuff like that. We don't really keep those things like private and unaccessible to each other or anything like that. So it's not like he was trying to do something and hide it or whatever. But I was on his Instagram, and then I saw a message, and it was basically a heart. Obviously, to me, I thought he actually DM'd her a heart, but he saw her story, hit like.
Yeah.
And then she ended up on his DM, because obviously if you hit like on someone, it goes up as a message in your DM, which he did not know. So that change in the way that Instagram operated caused a huge issue in our relationship. Because it was like, I'm like, you are married and you're sliding in some girl's DM, basically. And he's like, what? No, I did not message her. But I'm like, she's in your DM. So it caused this huge issue. And because I think at the time it was really new, the whole story function. And I didn't get it either until I kind of went on stories and did the same thing and saw that it goes into the DM. And I think that's when it was like, okay, all right, fair enough. But I mean, look at the issue it caused. Like, it caused a big issue, because one of my like pet peeves is things like that. Like, you can't be married and kind of be out there embarrassing your partner, like making your partner look like a fool.
And by the way, it wasn't a picture of some woman making breakfast half naked.
What was it?
It was just a girl. Like, I think she was doing something. Like, she was doing something like I said earlier on about like performing, but she was just, I can't remember what she was doing, but it wasn't like she was in the gym half naked or anything like that.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a half naked thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it was like a vacation thing.
Yeah, she was I think it was a vacation
I think it was like a vacation reel or something like that. That was like sights and stuff like that. And then
I like the picture.
But boy, it caused issues, because it was like, a lot of women talk about married men being in their DMs. And for me, that's like, oh my gosh, that's catastrophic.
That could just been them liking their reels and moving on. But they'll see
innocently,
it's in the DM.
Yeah, because Frank's page as well, especially around that time, I mean, obviously you stopped using Instagram for a while anyway. But around that time, it's not like I wasn't on his page. And a lot of married men have their wives on their page. They post their wives. Regularly. So I remember that just like it was a big deal for us, because I was like, you can't have me out here looking crazy. Like, and he was like, I'm not trying to have you looking crazy. I literally did not realize that goes in the DM. But that's one of those things where it's like, that's when we had the proper conversation about it. But I don't think it was one of those things where we had to argue it out, because you already didn't feel like, you could already see it from my point of view that, that's disrespectful. Like, if you hadn't bothered to like her picture, regardless of what it was about, the whole situation wouldn't have occurred. So
it's just better to avoid, any misunderstanding, because the misunderstanding could lead to proper argument, proper issues.
I mean, so don't say we're not perfect. Like, we're saying, like, we're not here on our high horse trying to tell everybody, wagging our finger at everybody because we're having this perfect relationship. Our relationships had some stuff. I mean, I know this is not like a big deal. Like, okay, so he liked some girl's picture, accidentally ended up in her DM, but it is one of those things where, you know, this could happen to other couples, and it's real stuff.
Sure it has.
Yeah. And it's like, our relationship is definitely not perfect, but we communicate through that kind of stuff. And I think it was like a big deal at the time, and I really, really wasn't happy. But it was like this is how we can avoid this happening in the future. And at least I didn't have to, like, you know, sit there arguing with you trying to explain why that was disrespectful or hurtful to me. So But I just wanted to, like, bring that up and just be like, that's something that, you know, we've personally experienced, and is one of the reasons why we feel that way anyway about social media. And so we're saying trust is neither here nor there. It's more about respect.
It's more about respect. Yeah. If you respect your partner, you would refrain from doing that. Especially, I mean, you know each other. You know if she would have an issue with it. There might be relationships out there where you know, she doesn't really care. You know, she sees it as like, it's absolutely, there's nothing wrong. They can like the girl's picture, it's fine, like nothing with it. And if that's what worked for both of you, that's what worked for both of you. But if you know deep down that, think to yourself before you click that like, that she's going to be pissed if she saw this, or she saw you clicking on it, she sees it in your inbox, then don't do it. Because if you carry on and do it, then you're disrespecting her.
Yeah. And it's one of those things as well where it's like, it's not about insecurity, because it's about standards, and it's about what you will and won't accept. If you're in a relationship, I would say to girls, and you feel strongly about this, there's probably women out there that don't care. You know, not all women are the same. But if you are one of those women that you do care, I don't think it serves you to kind of try and act like you don't care and try and, like, you know, go against what you're feeling because you don't want to seem jealous or insecure or untrustworthy. No, don't let anybody gaslight you into thinking that, you know, you're not jealous. You just have standards. You're not insecure. You don't want to be made to look like a fool. And you don't have trust issues, because it's not about trust. It's more about respect. And I think, you know, you should be bold enough to stand in that and articulate yourself and put that point across as well, and have the discussion with the person you're with. So
I agree.
You know, from the girl's perspective, I just wanted to kind of put that out there and be like, it is something that could make you feel some type of way, and you have a right to feel some type of way if you do. So how can we find a balance between having kind of individual freedom online to do what you want, but also like respecting your partner's feelings? You know, because there is going to be something here around some men, or even some women might be feeling like, you're trying to control what I do. You're trying to, like, tell me how to move on social media.
Yeah, but no one is telling you what to do. All your partner is asking for is just for you to respect them. That's all. You know, I mean, this conversation is about, you know, to like or not to like.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, it's not to be on social media or not to be on social media.
Yeah.
So you can be on social media. You can go on there if you want to. But the thing is, when you're on there, show a little bit of respect.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to find a balance. Like, before you do anything, be considerate about your partner.
Yeah.
Think, this action I'm about to take, what impact is it going to have on her?
Yeah.
Or have on him?
Yeah.
Before you do it.
And put yourself in their shoes in that way. Yeah.
Because if they were doing that, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, true. I agree with you. I absolutely agree. I think individual freedom online is about things like what we're talking about earlier, having your own account, if you want to have your own account and things like that, you know, being able to follow who you follow, comment on what you want to comment on. But I think especially when you're married, you do have to think of the fact that you're basically representing a union. You're representing each other.
Yeah.
You know, and I would never want to do something online that will embarrass you.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think you care about not doing something online that will embarrass me. And I think in a world where, you know, there's so much temptation around and whatever, you don't want to look like you're interested in people from the opposite sex when your page is clearly showing that you're in a relationship. And I think that's just, it's like you're saying, it's a respect thing, you know. I don't think that takes away your individual freedom online.
I agree.
And I think if you're with someone that feels that way, that it makes them feel like they can't do what they want, and then I guess you could ask yourself, is that really what they want to do? Like, well, and if that's the case, what does that mean? You know, you can't be unrealistic about the person you're with. You can't try and paint them with a different brush. If that's the way they think, then really, you know, you have to think about whether or not it's a deal breaker for you. You know, it's like we've spoken about before. Think about things in terms of, is this a hill I'm willing to die over, or is it just something that, it's an inconvenience, but I can put up with it?
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
I think for me in the beginning, it was just an inconvenience, but I could put up with it. And as we kind of went on in our relationship and we got married and stuff, it became more of a deal breaker. you know?
It would.
And yeah, people change, you know, as well. I guess also I have different views about someone as your boyfriend and versus someone as your husband.
True.
So there's that as well. You know, as my boyfriend, maybe I'm not too harsh. Yeah, I'm not too harsh on you when it comes to certain actions or your autonomy or whatnot. But as my husband, I feel like, you know, we're supposed to be committed to each other. And there's certain things that show a lack of commitment.
I agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, just to give people some tips and takeaways, especially like people in a relationship. Let's say you're married and you're in a relationship and your husband does this, or you're married and in a relationship and your wife does this. I doubt women are on there liking hunky men. We don't know. But yeah, let's say you're married and your partner does this and it is something that you can't stand. How would you advise them to deal with it, Frank? Let's start with you.
I think you've got to communicate with them. Yeah, you've got to communicate with them. Be very open. As you said a few minutes ago, do not feel pressured to not say anything. Don't try to be like other people.
Yeah.
Express yourself. Express your views. You know, if you don't like it, say you don't like it.
Yeah.
So be very open with your communication. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also it might annoy you and it might be something that you're really upset about, but I think it's important not to address it in an angry way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think people do have different views on things and it doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you.
True.
So it's one of those things, even though it might make you feel like that, you do need to give the person the benefit of the doubt the first time round at least.
Yeah.
It's another thing when you've been telling them the same thing for like years and they're still doing it. But when it's a case of like, look, okay, I haven't really set this boundary. I haven't really brought this matter to you before. And I know you're not trying to hurt me, but this is something that is really bothering me.
Yeah.
And I don't like the way you move on this, or I don't like the way you do that. I think you just need to bring it from a very kind of neutral, calm space. And like we say as well all the time, if you have things like date nights or you have like chill out evenings where you just sit and talk, those are the times to bring it up. When there's less tension and there's less drama, do not shout it in the middle of an argument.
Don't bring it up, you know.
Ready to go to war.
Yeah, just avoid those times.
Yeah, just bring it up in a calm way, give them the chance, you know, and express how you feel. And you find sometimes when you express something that's really bothering you in a really calm and chilled way, especially I found as a wife, when I express something in a very calm way to Frank, he's a lot more receptive and he remembers it a lot more than the things that I say when I'm angry and we're arguing.
Yeah. My memory just wipes us.
You're like, this girl's crazy talking to me like that.
As soon as you finish speaking, it wipes it. It just cleans it up. Let's start all over again. So what will you say it again?
You will, yeah. As a man, he is like, he will not receive anything said to him in a wrong tone.
No.
So take that from me. Like, gosh, men are hilarious when it comes. I think it's something to do with you guys and your masculinity and your ego. And that's normal. Like, you as a man, you don't want to be told off and shouted at. So I understand. But sometimes, you know, that's why I'm saying do not try and tell your partner at a time when you're angry because it's not going to come across right.
Yeah.
You're still going to sound really, really annoyed and they're not going to receive that well. They'll just get defensive. So it's important for you to try and come with the peace and come with the love.
Yeah. I agree.
Another thing as well, avoid making comparisons. So like keep in mind that social media is literally an idealized, curated version of people's lives.
Yeah.
It's not something that you should be looking at and comparing your relationship with. Even our ITT podcast, you know, feed is a lot of stuff that we try to be really normal there. Like we try and post things that is literally just us. We try not to be too curated on there.
Yeah.
But even that is still the fun moments, the happy moments and stuff like that. So, you know, when you're thinking about how to kind of deal with the situation or your partner doing things you don't like when it comes to social media, don't let like other relationships on social media make you feel like they're not going through nothing and this is such a big deal and I can't believe I'm in this situation with my husband or whatever. Because trust me, there's a lot of things like you just heard from us, that everybody goes through when it comes to marriage and relationships, and social media is one of them. So
and from an angle of to like and not to like as well, as a lot of you will know, I would say more than 80% of what you see on social media is fake, in terms of the way some of these men are looking, the way some of these women are looking. Like, so the clicking likes, like, you're just wasting your likes. Don't bother, because most of it's not real.
Oh dear.
You know, see, the woman that you are with, that's real. Yeah. So all these social media baddies, 90% of them, they're not real.
No, they're real. They're real.
You know what I mean by when I say that?
I know what you're saying. For you, like, Frank has a thing with surgery, like excessive surgery. That's probably why you're like, but they're still real. They're still real.
Okay, they're real, but they're not real. Yeah.
I can't believe
they're partially real.
Let's skip past this. Let's skip past this, because I will not condone that.
Okay.
I will not condone that. Women getting their body done are still real women. They're just not the kind of women you like.
They're real women, right? All I'm saying is,
I know what you're saying.
Save your likes. No, because we're saying that don't avoid making comparisons. So don't try and compare. Who you're with what you're seeing on the screen, because you don't know what they've been through, or what really process they've gone through.
Yeah, I hear that.
So save your likes.
And I guess that's you speaking to men. So I shouldn't really shut that down.
No, that is fair enough. That is me speaking to men. Like, don't. Like, come on, guys. You know the deal. We all know what's happening out there. We all know there's a lot of chopping and fixing and whatnot. So, like,
it's true.
So
true. And another tip we would probably give is try and keep your social media as constructive as you can for yourself. So, share your milestones, and
you can make it positive. You can use it in a positive manner.
Yeah.
Our personal Instagram profiles, pages, we post out a lot of positive stuff, like, birthdays, I'll, give you a shout out with pictures and videos and stuff, and milestones, anniversaries and stuff. So see it as a platform you can use in demonstrating your love to your partner.
And not just about your partner, I guess, but
well,
do you only see it as a platform for your demonstrating?
Just not just for your partner, obviously for yourself as well. You've got kids. Your kids. Just use it to celebrate love, celebrate happiness and life and stuff. Some people use it as like a log for pictures and videos that they want to have of their loved ones, of their family or whatever. So keep it as that.
Cool. So I think that's it from us on this. This is, I have to say, disclaimer, we are recording this really late.
Yeah.
So we're quite tired today. But you've been a proper trooper for actually coming and recording it. I know it's for both of us, but I know that I'm a bit more of a night owl, so I could do stuff at midnight, 1 a.m. and I'm probably going to keep that same energy. I don't sound too different, but Frank in the evening gets really, really tired. Like, he does not operate the way I do when it comes to nighttime.
Yeah.
If you've been listening to our podcast, he's the one that's more likely to wake up early. So he does not like midnight stuff like this. Yeah. So he's tired.
Yeah, but because we love you guys, we're gonna keep doing this. Yeah,
I know, right? But we are definitely gonna keep doing this. And like we said, this is the last episode, but we will be coming back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But let's go through the dilemma.
Oh yes.
We've got two dilemmas. So let's get into it. So I'll read. Are they both from women? The first one is about cheating, and the second one is about a situation about a baby. So this is interesting. Let's start off. I'll read them both because they're from women.
Okay, go for it.
And you're tired. You don't want to read anything.
I'm good.
Okay, so hi guys. I'm a new listener and I wanted some advice on something I'm going through in my relationship. I have been married to my husband for about 20 years and we have 2 young adult children. Okay, this is serious. Are we qualified to answer this? We are very open with each other and I've never had any trust issues with him at all. Over the last few years, I have been having some health issues and I recently had gastric band surgery. A couple of weeks ago, I was using my husband's phone and a text from a woman flashed up. In the moment I didn't react, I finished and handed him back his phone. After about 10 minutes, I asked him to show me the text. He resisted at first, but then realized how serious I was. When he gave me the phone, I read the text and let's just say there was a trail of flirty texts going back a couple of months and a selfie from her. And to top it off, the woman was someone who works in my building.
Oh no.
I don't know her, but we see each other. Jeez. In the past, he once picked me up from work, and as she passed us, he said hi. When I asked him how he knew her, he gave me a random answer like, oh, I knew her from back in the day. Okay. To say I was distraught is an understatement. We had a huge argument. He states that he has never met up with her and it has only been the text messages. I do believe him. To cut a long story short, I'm not a pushover, so the home environment has been hostile. I go from anger to sadness hour by hour. I don't want to end my marriage when he hasn't physically been cheating on me. A part of me understands why he has strayed emotionally because of my health issues. I have not been myself. That night, I felt kind of guilty and I ended up sleeping with him. Then the day after, I was angry again. I guess what I'm asking is, how do I deal with this in a way that doesn't make him think his behavior is acceptable because I have chosen to stay? I don't want to be bitter, but I don't want to act like it never happened either. I know I'm all over the place, so I hope this makes sense, and sorry it's so long. Signed off as a confused listener. Okay, do you want to give your advice first, or should I go first?
I think you should go first. I think I just need to recollect my thoughts.
You're like, let me think about this. Okay, for me, I really understand the point she's making about the fact that there hasn't been any physical cheating.
Yeah. So there's no evidence.
Yeah, it's not. She doesn't want to end her marriage because it's like, well, he's not like he's outright cheated on me.
Yeah.
But he has definitely been dishonest and disloyal. Yeah. And there's been, in my opinion, emotional cheating.
Yeah.
To be getting flirty messages and, oh my goodness, I'm already like, I'm picturing it. I'm stressed. Flirty messages and selfies. I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
Definitely a conversation.
I'm the worst person to ask because cheating is a big
conversation needs to be had. That's for sure. I think they need to. Find some time together and just have an open and honest conversation. It shouldn't be a case of like in passing, say, oh, who was that on the phone? It needs to be a constructive conversation.
Yeah. I mean, let's dissect this. What is the main issue she's having here? It seems that she's upset because she's like, this is a big deal. I don't want him to think it's not a big deal because I stayed. But at the same time, I don't want to keep being angry. So it's like she's going from angry, but she can't forgive him.
It's a trust issue. She wants to be able to trust him. And she doesn't, at present, she cannot trust him.
At this point in time, she's trying to deal with that all by herself. She probably needs to bring him along. It's like you're saying, there's a conversation that needs to be had where she needs to tell him that this is how she's feeling. She needs to tell him, listen, I don't want you to think it's not a big deal by staying. And so because I stayed. And so I'm conflicted. And I don't know how to deal with this because I'm angry. And then sometimes I'm not. I think it's just something you need to put on the table and be like, I am angry with you. And I don't know how to deal with this because sometimes, I'm just upset and I want to get through it, but it's not easy.
And then see how he responds to that.
Yeah.
Because
he's going to have to help you through it.
Yeah, his response would show you how, they've been together for 20 years. Like, to be with someone for that long, it's not it's not a joke thing. It's not a joke. Like, it's actually serious. So be very honest, be very open, and see how he deals with it. But you should not suffer through it. You should be trying to solve the situation, solve the issue alone. He needs to come with her. She needs to bring him along, like you said. But a conversation is needed between both of them. It's not a case of you trying to figure it out what you're gonna do. No, don't do that.
Yeah,
he needs to be there. You both need to speak through it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, even just like the fact they've been together for 20 years, for me, I'm just picturing this happening in our relationship and I'm like, what would I do?
You would talk to me.
What do you think I would do if this happened? Like, based on how you know me.
Exactly the advice we're given. You would talk to me about it because we've been through so much that to just keep it to yourself, trying to sort out the situation by yourself, no, you wouldn't do that. You would bring it to my attention. And we'll talk about it because we've spoken about less things in the past. So this is a bigger issue. I would expect you to bring it to me. Yes, I would expect you to bring it to me. But
like, even the whole staying through it, would there not have had to be quite a serious conversation that took place for me to decide to stay through it? So that's why I'm thinking.
Well, maybe the conversation, maybe what's happened prior to the staying through it has been.
Yeah.
She's saying that. There possibly hasn't been any physical cheating on her. So there's no proof that anything has happened. But the text message,
I know. Do you need physical cheating? Well, actually, let me not start putting doubts in our reader's mind because this is not what she's here to. She's already decided to stay. I need to just make peace with that. because maybe she does need physical cheating for her to kind of, feel like it's justified. But I guess she needs to be real with herself, because that might be the reason why she's angry, because maybe she feels like physical cheating is the only reason why she should leave or is a big deal. But really, for her, she recognizes, like I do, the way I feel, like it doesn't matter if there was no physical cheating. If you are married and you're having flirty text messages, and then the woman is sending you a selfie and stuff like that, I will be livid, livid. And maybe she didn't do enough. Maybe she didn't show her anger enough, and maybe that's why it keeps resurfacing.
And I think what makes it worse is that she's going through illness. Is it
illness?
Illness?
She was saying when she had like health issues.
That's heartbreaking.
No, it's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
I feel like she needs to go back and tell him how angry she is, because if she is that angry, she can't be feeling guilty and feeling like somehow she's not good enough, or it's her fault. She needs to go back and be like, listen, I really thought this wasn't a big deal, but it's a bloody big deal, and I'm really upset, and I don't know how to move past this, and let him figure it out. You know what I mean?
It is a
Maybe some time apart is needed or something. Maybe you need to reflect, because the anger keeps resurfacing because it's not dealt with. You haven't taken action that would help you to be at peace with your decision. And so I feel until that's done, it's going to keep resurfacing, and you're going to have resentment. You have to forgive someone with your whole heart. You can't be half-heartedly forgiving. So you need to work on this a bit more. I think you're right, Frank. They need to sit down and have another conversation, and it needs to be more about the fact that she's finding it hard to shake this off.
Yes, and then see how he deals with that. Because it's a horrible thing to do. Someone going through health issues. You've been married for 20 years. That's marriage is all about being together through thick and thin. So it feels like you've checked out. When there is some form of health issues. And you've betrayed that trust, and you've gone back on your promise. And I think that's what she's trying to regain. She's trying to regain the trust, and she's not quite sure. That's why. No, she's not trying to gain the trust, because she's not the one that lost it. She's trying to. Well, she's trying to rebuild it. I don't know. She's trying to find the trust. He needs to try and regain her trust. Sorry, she wants to bring back the trust in the marriage. That's what she's trying to do, but she can't do that alone. So it's a two-man job. It's something that man and van. But it's it's something that it's something that you both have to work on. So I think you need to go back to the drawing board. The two of you need to talk, and he needs to recognize that he needs to do more. He needs to work with you. There's going to be nights of sadness, anger. He's just going to have to continue to take that L and apologize and help you through it, because it's like you're almost grieving. He has to help you through it. If he loves you, he would do whatever it takes. It's as simple as that. That's so true. Okay, so we'll move on to the second dilemma. It says, I don't want a baby, help. Hey guys, I've got a bit of a tricky situation. Me and my husband are in our early 30s. We have 2 children. The youngest is 24 months old, which I think is just 2 years old. When people say months, I'm like, I got to do math. But the youngest is 2 years old. He has always wanted a big family, and I was happy with just one. So we came to a compromise that we would have 3. About a year ago, my husband started hinting that we should try for the 3rd. So I got an implant put in to buy me some time, and I haven't told him. Well, we have 2 girls, and I know he wants to try for a son. The problem is, I really feel like I'm done. 2 is enough now. When I tried to tell him I don't really have a leg to stand on because we don't struggle financially, and we did compromise at 3 because he wanted more. What should I do? My friend says I'm bad for doing it without telling him. I'm guessing she means the implant. But I had to make sure I safeguarded myself. I don't want to bring a child into the world that I'm going to resent. Do I make my husband happy, or do I honor myself? Girl, help me. Frank, don't cuss me out. I beg, she says. Anonymous. I love that she mentioned you in this. Why did you think you're going to cuss her out? Probably because you're the man, and she went and got an implant, which is going to stop her from getting pregnant, even though they're trying. Yaicha Magaicha, so you're the man. You start, because she's gone and done something that is kind of dishonest. I mean, you've got to put yourself in his position and then think about what she's saying, and okay, so... the question is, why didn't you talk to me?
No, she's not going to tell him about the implant. Should she be telling him about the implant? She's telling us, but she's not telling him.
She has to tell him.
Really?
Why?
Because she don't take the implant out and just.
But she says she
resume the position.
No. But if she feels strongly about it, and she feels that she's going to resent,
the situation.
The situation is like, I would rather know about it, knowing how you feel about it, than for you to be doing it because of me. Having kids is a it's a two-man job.
It's a two-man job. It's not two men that will have the kids. It's not two men that will work.
Wait, you know what I said is it takes two to it takes two to tangle, right?
Wow, so, that's the first time you've actually said one of those phrases right.
Wow.
You normally always mix them up. Okay. You'd be like, it takes two to something else. It
takes two to tangle, right? So it takes two people to bring a child into this world. So why?
You've got to want it.
If you don't want it and I want it, then we need to talk.
And there's the added pressure, though, of the boy situation. She said they have two girls. He clearly wants a boy now. So this one of those things where it's like, if she doesn't want any more kids, she's basically refusing him the boy in a way.
Well, that's a difficult situation.
Proper.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's quite a few people that are in that.
Yeah, there'll be people in that predicament. Okay, let me just put myself in her position. Oh my gosh. It is hard because then wow.
To have gone ahead and do the implant without telling me is quite a disrespectful thing. No. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I would rather you came to me and expressed how you feel, because I would never force anyone to do anything. I don't think any sensible man would want to force their partner, their wife, to
do something they don't want to
do. Some men would have settled for two girls. If it's two girls, they could have get okay, fine.
Yeah, but you risk, for her as a woman, I think she probably feels like, well, I'm risking my marriage, because what if he's like, I really want that third child. I really want to try for a boy. Like, you're basically preventing me. That could be a deal breaker for him, especially since they agreed in the beginning.
Yeah, we need to do an episode on this kind of wanting the boy kind of thing.
Yeah, the wanting the boy.
Quite a few people would have gone through it. It's quite a big issue in our society.
And there's nothing
no one really talks about.
But there's no guarantee that it's going to be a boy anyway.
So you had the third one, it's a girl. Then what do you do? Where do you stop if it's another girl? I know people that have 4 girls.
Yeah,
where does it stop?
Okay, I'm going to have to be real as a woman here, and this is where theory does not play out in marriage sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be real. If I was to give you the answer that I think is the best thing to do, it would be go and talk to your husband, tell him that you got the implant, tell him why you did it and how terrified you were about getting pregnant again and how you're feeling. If you've married the right kind of guy, he should hear that out.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's going to give up on his dream for a boy and, just like 2 kids, even though you previously compromised, it could really shake your relationship. And I think you've got to really accept that this could cause a huge rift in the relationship. But that's an option. You could go and have that conversation, and that is probably the right thing to do. But I'm just going to be real with you. If this was me, I would have the conversation with my husband and say, listen, if I have this child and it's not a boy, this is it, right? We first need to get that agreement.
Yeah.
And I would probably have the child because of the fact that I agreed with him. I would feel so bad. And I know this is bad, and this is not the kind of advice that you want to give on a podcast. But if I'm being honest with myself, 2 kids, 1 kid, 3 kids, one more, 2 kids, 1 more. I don't think I would feel that strongly about it. And if I did, it would be a case of, am I willing to lose my husband, potentially, for the sake of not having any more kids? Do I feel so strongly about it that I will not have any more kids, that I'm willing to risk losing him? So that's what it comes down to. And I don't think I'm going to be willing to risk losing you. I would just tell you that I really don't want to do it, but if you really want us to have that third child, then this has to be it.
I get that though, but a sensible man, a sensible man will understand. Like, if you come to him and you're expressing how you feel, you're expressing that, look, it's just, I really don't, and you give valid reasons for it.
True.
It's not something that you should be losing your husband over. It's one thing if you don't have any kids and you want to try for a child and your wife does not want to do it, even though you both agree that you guys are gonna have kids and she doesn't want to do it, but you really want a child. Then I get that, but you've got 2 kids already, and she's telling you, she's signaling that, look, I really don't want. Hear her out, like, give her a chance. Like, what is it? Like, What are the issues? Because it could be health issues. It could be if she's feeling like 2 is enough, 2 is where I want to stop.
You have to respect.
You have to respect that. So from a man's perspective, if that was me, I would understand. I would listen. If I really desperately want a boy, and you were telling me that, I would try to convince you to, let's just try again. Maybe we'll drop a legal document to say that whatever this child turns out to be, a boy, girl, or an alien, I would accept it. And that's it. And we're done. Like, if you want to get into that legal side of things, draw up a document that you both signed. Because if you try again and it's a girl, then he can't say anything. So in saying that, from what you said, I don't think it needs to get to that.
But I'm just telling you, as a wife, as a woman, you will feel like, well, you're going back on your word, and he may choose to be like, you're not a serious wife. Like, I'm getting rid of you, and I'm gonna go have my boy with someone else.
That's a big question on him. I know that raises a lot of questions about him.
But the thing is, stranger things have happened. You think you know someone until you refuse them the one thing they really want.
And that person,
I don't know.
That person was not meant to be for you. Then there's, for me, that raises a lot of questions. Because it takes 2 people. Because what could happen is a woman could have the boy or could have a child, and she could end up resenting that child because she did not want to have that child. I would rather that child we did not start anything at all.
Yeah.
Then for that child to come into this world, and then it's like,
True. Oh, this is why you're the wiser one to this marriage. This is why you're the oldest. Oh, I know. So, I feel her pain.
But there are some. This is why I'm saying that we need to probably touch on this in season 3.
Yeah.
This whole, because in our tradition, in our culture, it's big having that boy. You can have 10 girls for a man. You'd be like, one more time. It's like,
Yeah, we might touch on this
the
next
importance
season.
of having a boy. I don't even know. I think it's wahala. I don't even know if it's that.
It's easy for you to say with your boy first.
Yeah. If I had a girl first, I wouldn't really care.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really care. Like, it's all I was after was a healthy child, boy or girl. It didn't really matter to me. So
Yeah. Okay, so we're saying, girl. I'm saying, as a girl, as a woman, I understand.
Talk to him.
I hear that. Talk to him.
From a man's perspective,
I don't know about I wouldn't have gotten that without talking to you, though. I would have said, listen, I just need to buy myself a bit more time. Can we give it a bit more time? Yeah. But, I mean, you've done it now. I don't know. Can I advise you should I be advising you to go and tell him? I don't know. I think...
Maybe tell him.
Maybe go take it out.
Maybe talk to him first.
Just go take it out.
Maybe talk to him before taking it out. Maybe
talk to him. Yeah.
Talk to him. Don't tell him if you've done it. Just talk to him and just gauge
how serious
he is about it. If he says, "Oh, it's all right, babe, it's fine, okay," then.
But we're being bad. You probably should tell him. You don't want to take secrets like this to the grave. Like, what are you going to do? Take it out and never tell him what you did? I don't know.
We've always...
we do. I would tell you.
We've always pushed for open communication. We've always pushed on like trust. So if you want to keep building that trust with your partner, you have to be upfront. And tell them. You probably say to you, "Why didn't you tell me?"
He'll be upset. But this is why I find it hard to advise you on that point, because the way me and you communicate, I would never do that without telling you. Yeah. I just wouldn't. Even if you don't agree with it, I'll be like, nope, I'm getting it done, because right now I do not want to get pregnant just yet.
Yeah, it's better to be at that position.
Yeah, I wouldn't go ahead and telling you,
because at least I know that you've made a decision. That's what you're gonna do.
And you might not like it, but at least you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm being like, don't tell it, because I wouldn't have done that. But if you have done it, I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're probably better off just going and telling him and having the conversation and telling him that you really don't want to have the third child. And for me as a woman, if I'm just being honest with you, if I promise my husband 3 children, unless I can't give it to him for some reason, I would probably try, and if he really is like, no, let's just have one more, but I would probably be like, okay, let's just have the one more. And I don't see myself resenting the child, because the children, once they're here, are like a blessing.
There are some women
who resent their child.
It probably changes, their lifestyle. It probably changes what they were trying to achieve, or maybe they had to put their life on hold to have that child again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you feel that,
there's anger.
Oh my gosh, and if it turns out to be another girl, I think you just have to talk to your partner. And I think we're saying a lot of this in like hypothetically as well, because we don't know how strongly you feel about this. That's what I'm saying. I always said if I had 2 boys, you know, for you, we would have had a third.
Yeah, we would have. Yeah.
If we ended up with 3 boys, we always agreed that. If we ended up with 3 boys, we've ended up with 3 boys. That's it.
Yeah.
The same thing. If I had 2 girls, I would have tried again to try and have like one of each. And if we ended up with 3 girls, then that's it. We always agreed that.
Yeah.
You know, luckily for us, we technically only wanted 2, and we had a boy and a girl. So we were like, yeah, that's a sign. Let's just stop here. But it is one of those things where if I had 2 girls, it's hard for me to advise, because I would have always been like, okay, fine, I can have the third and try. But if it's another girl, you know, that's it. And I think if I had 3 girls and you were proper like, no, let's go again, after we hadn't agreed that and we've already agreed 3, it would have been an issue. It would have been in that case, you then need to ask yourself, how strongly do you feel about this? You know, is it worth causing like a big dramatic situation in your marriage over where you might actually end up not being together anymore?
Yeah.
If you feel that strongly, then have the conversation and be like, I don't want to do this. But
talk to him. Yeah. Talk to him. Be honest, be open.
You was open.
Be honest.
Open and honest.
Be honest with why you don't want to do it. Be very straightforward and and see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
As I said to the previous dilemma, you know, if he loves you, he would make things work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do talk to him.
Yeah, talk to him, and thank you so much for trusting us with your issue, and I hope it works out. Send us a DM or a message and keep us updated on it. But yeah, so that's the second dilemma done.
Yeah.
And that's actually the season done. Season 2 is wrapped up, and we'll come back in season 3.
Yeah. See you guys soon.
We appreciate everyone that takes the time to listen to our podcast, and we're super grateful for all your engagement with us. Don't forget to email us any of your questions, comments, or dilemmas at itt.thepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a DM on Instagram at ITTpodcast, all one word. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll speak to you on the next one.
Bye.